Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown featuring myself in charge of the brand new Wood Elves up against Maximum Deletion, aka Wicked D, and the forces of the Greenskins. So the new DLC up against the old DLC. I have to hop in here and see how it does go. So for our force, we've got a mixture of both new and old units, and in the front line is the old reliable. We have triple Eternal Guard with shields. These bad boys will hold the line for a considerable amount of time, be able to deal and duel pretty well with goblins and basic orc boys, but at the same time can hold back those more elite units to allow the rest of the build to really pack a punch and deal that good old damage. In the centre, we've gone back to basics for a couple of Glade Guard as well. I think these are one of those units which are quite underrated overall. You often see Way Watchers or Deepwood Scouts and the like, but these guys can do some pretty good long-range damage, and now with the added benefit of Glade Riders making you have a few more options in protecting your back line, I think they'd be a little bit more popular than they were before. In the centre here we do have the Blade Singers, which are a new unit which I think in this matchup and against Norska in particular as well are going to be very deadly. You can pop their lovely ability here, Whirl and Death, which lowers their armour piercing but increases their base weapon damage, turning them into absolute lawnmowers. So they'll be able to tear apart pretty much all Greenskin infantry rather effectively. However, coming at 15 armour, yes, they do have physical resistance of 20%, but they are still incredibly squishy, and I can confirm that for sure. For the rest of our build, we do have Ariel as well as our Mage Caster. She is rather expensive, but she is terror causing, pretty hard to take down as well. Both those things very good against the Greenskins. She's coming with Berry Wine, which is basically a free regrowth, which we can pop on someone at some point. We have Soul Stealer, Apotheosis, and Greater Arcane Conduit, as well as both the Ancient Protection, which gives a nice physical resistance when we cast a spell, as well as Life Bloom as well. So she's unbreakable, causes terror, and a real sticky unit for the Greenskins to have to deal with. Up in the skies, we do have the Sisters of Twilight on their eagle here, which I actually prefer the eagle than the dragon in most matchups, simply because it's harder to snipe you out, and you can still get your value without having to dart into dangerous combats. We're bringing the Eagle Quiver, which is basically souped up arrows of Kurnos to try and deal with Goblin Doom Diver catapults and the like. We've also gone for Conjoined Destiny, which I don't think's probably worth it when you're on the eagle, but still, it may be able to pay dividends here today. And of course, they do come with that advantage as well. Hidden over in the trees, we have the Lost Sylvan Knights, a unit I haven't experimented with too much yet, but I know they've been very popular with other content creators, and they are not ethereal, but pretty much close to as ethereal as you can get, coming in that 75% physical resistance. Darting down the hill here, they are ethereal, sorry, I mean, they're not undead, there we go. But yeah, ethereal, incredibly fast with a whopping 90 speed. They're perfect for collapsing flanks of Greenskins, getting in there, causing that terror as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they do perform. Now for my opponent here, we do have a huge Skirmish Corps, which is always good for the Greenskins. A ton of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers currently falling back, and we're putting pressure on them with our Lost Sylvan Knights because of that ethereal nature. In the main battle line, we do have the 8 Peak Loons, as well as Orc Boys and Goblins dotted all the way around. So pretty cheap and cheerful lads for sure. And that's because the money has been spent in triple Stone Trolls. Now these guys, famously good up against the Wood Elves. Not only do they have regeneration and can beat down most of the units in combat, they come with a 25% missile resistance, which is rather nice, as well as a 25% magic resistance. So they're quite pesky all round. We have more goblins in the back line, goblin spider riders as well. And in the centre pocket, we have an orc shaman coming in with Foot of Gork. And we also have a giant river troll hag and Grom the Paunch on his chariot. Now, just as we start this battle here, this is an awesome play and a really good counter to the Knights. So, Knights definitely going to be picked quite often, I think, in the Greenskin matchup. So what you do is you drop the Merva, whatever you want to call it, from the hag down, lowering their speed, and then a big fat Foot of Gork does come in and takes them down about half health. It doesn't kill any models, which is pretty important, because of course we do have Apotheosis, so we are going to be able to heal these guys up, but there is some insane value there off that one spell, and we are going to be advancing here towards the enemy, using this right hand side as well to protect our flanks. Trying to get in the range with the Glade Guard, but some of my opponent's done really well here. He's pushed out his main force quite a bit in front of the Doom Diver catapult, so I cannot get the Glade Guard in range to shut them down, because archers are very good at dealing with artillery crews all around. So instead, we're going to have to do the old-fashioned way and fight our way through the front line. As you can see, we are peppering these Night Goblins in the front lines as well with the Sisters, trying to butter them up to allow Ariel to come in and smash them, as well as not take too much damage from their whirly-wools of death, the whirling fanatics that do indeed come out of that. The Knights up on the side just currently taking a little bit of skirmish fire, but they're fine, not really going to take too much damage from that at all. just chilling for now as the Glade Riders do come in to try and pin Grom the Paunch in place. But he's going to pull back, actually dragging my Glade Riders into a bad position. Although Ariel doing quite a decent amount of job on these Night Goblins with the help of the Sisters of Twilight for support. While we're floating over to the back here, trying to put pressure on the Doom Diver Catapult. Once again, good play by my opponent, coming back with those Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers to put pressure on myself. So we're going to come down with a Fat Soul Stealer as well, as another Foot of Gork connects with the Lost Sylvan Knights. Once again slowed as well by that River Troll Hag. This guy's taking quite a beating here. Another Apotheosis is going to be going down upon them. And a good Soul Stealer in the central pocket has broken off the Stone Trolls. And that's one of the great things about Ariel, is she causes terror, forcing back these Stone Trolls, who of course we have a weakness to that. Blade Singers are going to be swirling their blades in here. They're magical, pretty awesome looking stuff, as they do start to feast upon the Orc boys who've been flung left, right and centre by the goddess herself. In the back lines, the Lost Sylvan Knights are going to be trying to pin in other units and protect our archers, though it looks like Grom with his lucky banner is going to be able to escape relatively unharmed there, and actually the Lost Knights are bouncing over to try and beat back some Stone Trolls. Looks like they're getting a little indecisive there, however, as I do say those things. In the front line, Eternal Guard are doing a pretty decent job all round. Blade Singers as well. And over on this far side, I think I forgot to mention these guys actually earlier. I have double War Dancers for Azrai Spears. They are currently fighting Goblins, which isn't the best value for them, but they were trying to surround Grom a little bit earlier on. Stone Trolls in the central portion of the battlefield still looking rather healthy, pulling back, trying to protect Grom the Paunch where possible. They are currently being dogged by Eternal Guards, and those Blade Singers, racking up 93 kills already, are forcing their way through quite aggressively here, doing a decent job. And if you switch them to AP mode, they'd be pretty good against the Trolls as well. Nice pressure on this left-hand flank with more Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers pushing up, trying to focus down the Sisters of Twilight, but they're so fast on that Eagle they can simply dart away, and the Glade Riders desperately in the back line trying to protect the Glade Guard, though it looks like one unit is pretty much spent at this point. The second unit is trying to counter-skirmish the enemy by focusing down at those pesky Goblins. Although it looks like we've got a big old swarm coming in here, going to try and shut down the Glade Guard. The Sisters of Twilight are floating high above, going to be dropping some of those fat shotgun-style shells into the Goblins, doing a little bit of damage. Ariel currently being supported here by all the Eternal Guard, dotted around, really trying their best to surround Grom as well every time he does swing in. And he's not having a bad day himself, up to 71 kills. And he'll quite happily run over a lot more of these troops. However, we are going to be coming in with another Soul Stealer. Fortunately, we missed the main blob. We are going to be catching Grom, which is pretty huge at this point. I'm trying to get rid of him as fast as possible, which will allow the terror-causing elements of my build to really shine. We'll see some Doom Diver Catapults, those little goblins flying through the sky. Still doing massive damage to the Sisters of Twilight, and I've been able to keep them online the entire game. Is pretty impressive stuff, despite the amount of firepower I've put into them. Over in the distance, Lost Sylvan Knights are rallying as well. They did force off some Stone Trolls. Going to be dancing back to the battlefield. Nothing too crazy so far, as they do come in like a reindeer column, which is kind of funny. Up to 29 kills so far, but in the late game, they're going to be invaluable coming in with those glorious terror routes, hopefully. From the Paunch does pop Lucky Banner, manages to flee before the wrath of the Sisters, attempting to drag me into this blob, which I really don't want to be. So Blade Singers, though, are quite happily carving their way through some Orc boys now. And we're going to get out here with the Sisters of Twilight as quickly as possible, falling back for our own troops and getting back up into the relative safety of the sky there. Ariel pretty much full health still, up to 57 kills, an absolute beast here, and really starting to wreck a lot of the Greenskin hope. Looks like we have another slow popped down on the Lost Sylvan Knight, so no doubt a Foot of Gork is soon to follow, and they've had to have a ton of healing so far put upon them. A lot of value has gone into them, so losing them to another Foot of Gork would be pretty disastrous stuff indeed. Stone Trolls currently getting lit up by the Sisters, and maybe wondering why I'm doing the spread shot instead of the single shot, and that's because from closer range I believe the spread shot works kind of like a shotgun blast and does a little bit more damage, although it does not sunder the armour. Blob fight's going pretty good so far. Eternal Guard are going to be stacking alongside the Sylvan Knights, helping out against the Stone Trolls where possible, and you can see more of those shots coming in, doing some lovely burst damage on the Stone Trolls there, as more do flee in the distance as well. But of course, the good thing about Stone Trolls, they're going to be regenerating, coming back into the fray as well, so that's going to be some good stuff for them. And in come with these Spider Riders as well, but they're simply going to be nipping at the heels. These stags are massive, bigger than any troll. It's a really cool and thematic unit all round, coming in here and starting to slaughter the enemy. Looks like some buff or debuff has been going down as well. The Blade Singers are pretty much spent at this point. Looks like a Fitted Orc is going to be coming in. We're going to be desperately trying to pull the Knights away where possible. Although it looks like the Stone Trolls are trying to pin us in place as well. Fitted Orc does have a bit of a wind-up time though, so without that slow on them, the rather fast Stags are going to be able to escape pretty comfortably there. In the distance, we do have some Eternal Guard dueling Goblins trying to force their way through back onto the Doom Diver Catapult, as well as some War Dancers return to the field, and some Glade Guard that I need to micro a little better and bring back to the main engagement. In the main engagement, however, it looks like a Grom is just about done as well. Unfortunately, you can't eat ethereal flesh, so he's not having a fun day at all. And he's slowly being pumped here. He is swinging and trying to go down with a fight. Looks like the lost Sylvan Knights are at their healing cap as well. There's pretty crazy stuff. If we actually hover over this little marker here, I can get a hold of them. Oh, come on guys, there we are. They have actually held up pretty much 3,420, which is an insane amount of healing dropped on top of them, as our Ariel does blob up the remainder of these forces. War Dancers are here as well, which is really going to help up against these Stone Trolls, which is one of the last bastions of hope for my opponent so far. Looks like I'm trying to pull back the Lost Sylvan Knights as well out of this engagement. Getting caught up on some spiders, however, trying to pull them back onto the Doom Diver Catapults to be able to destroy these poor little goblins rather quickly here. Now, one thing I will say about the change to mass is I'm quite a big fan of it all round to stop the abuse of kind of single entities and chariots and the like. One thing that is rather annoying is that you can see when I'm trying to pull these knights out, if just one knight gets caught on, say, a Forest Goblin, Spider Rider, Archer, my unit will get halfway to attacking what it's meant to attack, and then they will all wrap around and charge back in because that one guy is caught up. So that can be a little bit of an annoyance, but still, you know, you win some, you lose some. The River Troll Hag is now being assassinated. We basically have a moving death blob here with the sisters who are out of ammunition, the Lost Silver Knights, as well as Ariel here, who's been a real MVP all round, having to heal up these knights and help them kind of carry into the late game. We have some rallying forces as well, Eternal Guard coming back to the main battlefield, and 6 Blade Singers showing their fury, returning to the field despite losing so many of their fellows, coming in up to 208 kills now. It's brutal stuff, and they'll certainly gain a few more, hunting down pesky little goblins. Stone Trolls are starting to waver now as well, and you can see in the distance quite a few of them have been shattered off. The Orc Shaman did get jumped by the sisters as well, so that looks like it's going to be game for the most part. They can't see any way back for the Greenskins at this point. Stone Trolls wavering, trying their best, dragging themselves forward, but the Lost Silver Knights care little for the pesky, mundane attacks of such base creatures. So a Pyrrhic victory indeed for the forces of the Wood Elves. Very well played to my opponent there, Maximum Deletion, Wicked D, one of the most awesome guys in the community, super nice dude. Unfortunately, I had to actually kind of dash after this, so I didn't get to play too many games against him, but I'll certainly try to get some more games in up against him soon that we can showcase on the channel, maybe even get him on the channel as well, hopefully in a best of 5 or something against someone. Would be some really good fun as well. So obviously both experimenting with some builds in this new meta, trying to figure out what's good, what's bad, and overall it was really good fun, so I hope you did enjoy. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. Feel free to comment as well, I really do enjoy reading them. Have a quick reminder, if anyone is rude to anyone on the channel, your comment will just get you banned, basically. But 99% of the comments have been really lovely, which is good to see. Anyway, so for the armies, Lost Silver Knights 90 kills, did take 2 Fitted Orcs, managed to dodge 1 eventually, and had to get held up a lot. Still got some pretty decent value though, 2,471 damage is very impressive, plus the amount of dedication they forced my opponents to really pour into them, and making them so durable, kind of really wasted a lot of the kind of magic and not magic, they did decent damage, but just so much resources kind of poured into them for them not to die and then get those tear outs in the late game. I think they were one of the MVPs, definitely alongside Ariel as well. Not quite so much damage value from her, but an absolute anchor in that front line, doing a fantastic job all round. Sisters of Twilight, I'm going to say you're going to be very good in this matchup, in my opinion. I don't think the Greenskins are the best at air combat. Of course, you do all have to have all those skirmishers with their poison arrows and the like, but even when they manage to focus on her for a considerable amount of time, she's relatively tanky on that eagle, at least compared to other kind of light flying units, and Lords took a ton of damage and still managed to dish it out as well. And the bonus of being on top of the eagle, of course, is you may not pack such a punch, but you don't really need to land that much to still get your value back. attack. And that's why I think the sisters are pretty potent and deadly, up to over nearly 12,000, over 11,000 damage dealt as well, is some very impressive stuff. As for the Blade Singers, not the craziest value, only 1,200, but 13,000 damage, 212 kills, really cleared out those goblins and allowed me to put pressure on the Doom Diver at the very end and kind of drag my way through that Greenskin horde. As for maximum deletion here, coming in with the Mighty Grom, still doing pretty decent all round. Did unfortunately get bogged down once or twice between a load of spearmen, which is a little bit rough for him, but still good cycle charging all round, got some good damage. A really interesting build, pretty goblin thematic, and I am a massive fan of the combination of the giant river troll hag as well as the orc shaman, who got 2,000 damage value there, which is insane, coming in with that foot of Gork tactic after the slowing down with the giant river troll hag is certainly a good counter to the knights, and something I think Greenskin players are going to have to look into. These knights are going to be very good at mixing up the meta, basically. I think up against units like beastmen, who also really suffer with dealing with kind of ethereal units, they're almost going to make either the Eye of Morslib or the Sons of Goros kind of mandatory up against Wood Elves, which is a really interesting way that this DLC is going to affect the meta. We'll have to see how it does indeed play out. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.